Dear fellow truth seekers, thank you and welcome for visiting my channel, MythoReligio. MythoReligio is a video channel based on a book series with the same name about religious comparison studies between the stories in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism and Buddhism, directly from their sacred books and world mythologies, hence the name MythoReligio. The purpose is to retrace the prehistory of humanity, since I'm not fully satisfied with either the explanations from the point of view of creationist nor evolutionist. There are so many missing links in both explanations. If you feel the same, then you are on the right channel. In this channel, I will also analyze about the prehistory of humanity from the archaeological records, modern scientific point of view, and other alternative theories such as the ancient alien theories and Atlantis or Lemuria legends. After thorough research of circa 30 years, I recognize many similarities between all religious stories and even mythologies, and surprisingly, some of them are in accordance or even beyond modern science that have been proven as correct. Thus, I came to the conclusion that all religions must have come from the same source. And all these religious stories and mythologies, although heavily jumbled up, are actually telling one mega story, the true prehistory of our common ancestors. This mega story is quite different than what we have been told to believe and will truly blow your mind, as it is more fascinating than our imagination. If you have watched the earlier videos in this channel, I believe you can see some of the similarities too. If you haven't and you truly want to do a religious comparative study, I suggest that you do so. The best way to do a comprehensive religious study via this channel is by watching the videos starting from number 1 and continue until this present video and so on. That way you will see a clear pattern. In this channel, I will share almost all that I have written in my book series. However, there is one book so far that I cannot share in this channel due to its sensitive, shocking and dark nature, and also might be considered controversial to some, but I believe it sheds more light to the above conclusion. If you want to read this around 500 pages ebook with many full-color illustrations, you are more than welcome to download book number 5 entitled History of the Dark Side, that is available for free in ebook format that can be found in my website, www.mythoreligio.com. You only have to give your email address and it will be sent to you directly. And no, I won't share your email address nor send any advertisement. The link is in the description box. If you want to get the physical book, kindly go to amazon.com. Now let's continue with this week's video. Video number 81 from MythoReligio series book 4, Mysterious Ancient Megalithic Constructions, part 4. Dear fellow truth seekers, in my previous videos I have shared with you some out-of-place artifacts that have been found by archaeologists that are simply too advanced to have been made by our primitive ancestors. Besides the abundance of unexplainable out-of-place artifacts, there are also many enigmatic ancient megalithic constructions in the world. And until today, it remains a mystery as to how did our supposedly primitive ancestors build them. In the past few weeks, I have shared with you the mysterious megalithic constructions in Europe, the Middle East and Peru in South America. Now we will continue with another megalithic construction which is still in South America and attributed to the Incas, but located in Bolivia this time. Tiahuanaco or Tiwanaku. The mountaintop city of Tiahuanaco, meaning the Great Ruined City, in Bolivia lies at a height of more than 13,000 feet or 3,962 meters, and it is miles from anywhere. The plateau looks like the landscape of an unknown planet. Manual labor is a torture for anyone who is not a native. The atmospheric pressure is about half as low as it is at sea level, and the oxygen content of the air is correspondingly small. And yet an enormous city stood on this plateau. The ruins are now pitifully depleted, but clearly show advanced knowledge, including the Akapana, a huge truncated pyramid structure, 167 inches times 496 inches times 650 inches, or 424 centimeters times 1,259 centimeters times 1,651 centimeters, perfectly squared with the cardinal points of the compass. Pumapungku Temple, Kalasaya Platform, and the Subterranean Temple. There are no authentic traditions about Tiahuanaco, which are incredibly old. How old, we do not know yet. Blocks of sandstone weighing 100 tons are topped with other 60-ton blocks for walls. Smooth surfaces with extremely accurate chamfers join enormous squared stones, which are held together with copper clamps. In addition, all the stonework is exceptionally neatly executed. Holes, whose purpose has not been explained thus far, are found in blocks weighing 10 tons. Nor do the 16.5 feet or 5 meters long, worn-down flagstones cut out of one piece contribute to the solution of the mystery that Tiahuanaco conceals. Stone water conduits, 6 feet or 1.82 meters long, and 1.5 feet or 0.46 meter wide, are found scattered about on the ground like toys, obviously by a catastrophe of tremendous dimensions. These finds stagger us by their accurate workmanship. In a courtyard, which has now been restored, there is a jumble of stone heads, which on closer observation appear to be made up of the most varied races. Some of the faces have narrow lips, some swollen, other long noses or hooked. Some have delicate ears and some thick. Some have soft features and some angular. And some of the heads wear strange helmets. Many of Tiahuanaco's buildings were constructed of massive finished stones, many tons in weight. They were placed in such a manner that only a people with advanced engineering methods could have designed and transported them. The particular andesite used in much of the Tiahuanaco's construction can only be found in a quarry 50 miles or 80 kilometers away in the mountains. The closest body of water to this seaport city is Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world. Lake Titicaca, at an elevation of 12,507 feet or 3,812 meters in the Andean Altiplano, is the highest large lake in the world. The mystery starts with an ancient waterbed that covers an area of 3,200 square miles or 5,149 square kilometers, 70 miles or 112 kilometers wide, and 138 miles or 222 kilometers long. There is evidence that the city was once a port, having extensive docks positioned right on the earlier shoreline of the now inland waterbed. One of these wharves is big enough to accommodate hundreds of ships. The inland waterway is littered with millions of fossilized seashells. The lake also features a range of oceanic types as opposed to freshwater marine life. Creatures brought to the surface in the fishermen's nets have included examples of seahorses. During the 19th century, Professor P.M. Duncan, studying the lake, noted the existence of siluroid, cyprinoid, and other marine fishes in the lake. Legends have persisted over the centuries that there are stone structures beneath the waters of Lake Titicaca, much of the same kind as can be found on the lake's shore. The Indians of that region have frequently recounted this tradition, but until recently there has been no proof of such structures. In 1968, Jacques Cousteau, the French underwater explorer, took his crew and equipment there to explore the lake and search for evidence of underwater construction. Although severely hampered in their activities by the extreme altitude, the divers spent many days searching the lake bottom, in the vicinity of the islands of the Sun and Moon, but found nothing man-made. Cousteau concluded the legends were a myth. But then, in August 23, 2000, BBC News published the following article. The ruins of an ancient temple have been found by international archaeologists under Lake Titicaca, the world's highest lake. A terrace for crops, a long road, and an 800-meter or 2,600 feet long wall was also found under the waters of the lake, sited in the Andes Mountains between Bolivia and Peru. Dating back 1,000 to 1,500 years ago, the ruins are pre-Incan. They have been attributed to the indigenous Tiwanaku or Tiahuanaco people, said Lorenzo Ipes, the Italian scientist leading the Atahualpa 2000 scientific expedition. The Holy Temple measures 200 meters by 50 meters or 660 feet by 160 feet, almost twice the size of an average football pitch. More than 200 dives were made into the lake, to depths of as much as 30 meters or 100 feet, to record the ruins on film. The explorers found the temple after following a submerged road in an area of the lake not far from Copacabana town. The complete findings of the 30-member team backed by the scientific group Akakor Geographical Exploring are to be published in November. The team also hopes to eventually raise the archaeological remains to the surface. The lake has long drawn fascination with various legends around it, including one of an underwater city called Tiwanaku and another of Inca gold lost by the Spanish. The Incas also regarded the lake as the birthplace of their civilization, and in their myth, the children of the sun emerged out of the waters. Stories of the lost treasure were enough to draw the famous French oceanographer Jacques Cousteau to explore the lake. However, he discovered only ancient pottery. National Geographic also launched an expedition in 1988. The Tiahuanaco culture lived in the shores of the lake before becoming part of the Incan Empire, based in Cusco, Peru. The Bolivian government has said it will provide financial and technical support to preserve the ruins. This means our civilizations have left more footprints than we had thought, said Antonio Eugenio, Bolivia's Vice Minister of Culture. Professor Arturo Poznański was a German Bolivian scholar who studied Tiahuanaco exhaustively for almost 50 years. Living at the ruins and intimately familiar with them, Poznański noticed dozens of things that could not be explained by the conventional archaeological theory, nor slotted into its chronological framework. For example, all over the site were enormous blocks of stone that no known pre-Columbian culture had the technology to fashion or transport. Even more astonishing, the spatial arrangement of these structures, relative to one another and to the stars above, indicated that the initial site engineers had a highly sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, geomancy, and mathematics. According to a legend of the local Indians called the Urus, men of light, they had lived in these Bolivian highlands before the Age of Darkness, or Chamak Pacha, a terrible cataclysm, and that they remember the time when the sun reappeared after it. Tiahuanaco was built before this cataclysm and was a great sea rich in big fish. Eventually there was a flood which destroyed the city's builders. The Spanish conquistadors were told a slightly different Inca legend. Thousands of years after the original creation of humanity by their god-creator Viracocha Pachacayachi, there was a catastrophe from which only a shepherd and his family escaped. As an offering in thanks, he built Tiwanaku in a single night. According to another Incan legend, Tiahuanaco was built by a race of giants whose fatherland had been destroyed in a great deluge that had lasted for 2 months. When Francisco Pizarro questioned the Incas about Tiahuanaco in 1532, They told him that no man had ever seen the city safe in ruins, for Tiahuanaco had been built in the night of mankind. Another one of the great archaeological wonders at Tiahuanaco is the monolithic Gate of the Sun, a gigantic sculpture, nearly 3 feet or 3 meters high and 16.5 feet or 5 meter wide single block piece masonry. Its weight is estimated at more than 10 tons. 48 square figures in 3 rows flank a being that represents a flying god. Author Eric von Däniken, a proponent of the ancient alien theory, wrote that a legend of Tiwanaku tells of a golden spaceship that arrived from the stars. In it came a woman whose name was Oriana, to fulfill the task of becoming the great mother of the earth. Oriana had only 4 fingers, all of which were webbed. Great Mother Oriana gave birth to 70 earth children and then returned to the stars. We do in fact find rock drawings of beings with 4 fingers at Tiwanaku. Their age cannot be determined. No one from any of the ages known to us ever saw Tiahuanaco when it was not in ruins. However, archaeologists stated that the ruins are 3,000 years old. They date this age from a couple of little clay figures which cannot possibly have anything in common with the age of the monolith. Unfortunately, these kind of assumptions concerning our archaeological findings are commonly done. So, here again, the when, who, why, and how Tiwanaku was built still remain open for debate. There are many more of such megalithic constructions around the world, and I will continue sharing them in my next videos. For now, allow me to thank you for watching and hope to see you next week.